I'm blessed to be here for this opportunity. I'm really happy for Coach Rule giving me this chance to be here. I'm blessed for this opportunity. I also want to take this time to say thank you to the Kansas City Chiefs, Coach Reed and his staff. They've been a world to me and my family, and I'm so happy and grateful to be here to coach these young men to move forward and hopefully for great things. With that being said, I open up for questioning.
What was the connection to Nebraska? How did they find you, and were you familiar with anybody here before you took the job?
I was first of all to answer your question. What's your name?
Sean Cowan.
Sean. No. First of all, I wasn't. They had a guy on our staff named Dave Merritt, and we have some other component parts that knew Coach Rule. Coach Reed is a big fan of Coach Rule, and from that standpoint, we were still in season, and I had an opportunity to interview with Coach Rule, and he was willing to wait for me, and it was a great opportunity for me and my family. So I had no connections before. So 2 weeks ago, driving up to the Winterstone was my first time coming to Nebraska.
Hey, Terry, Mitch Sherman from The Athletic.
How you doing, Mitch?
I'm good. Welcome to Nebraska.
I'm happy to be here.
College, was it something that was in your mind? I mean, I know you go way back at the beginning of your coaching roots, and there's Bethune-Cookman, but you seemed to get pretty entrenched in the NFL. Where was this potential move in what your goals were as you progressed with the Chiefs?
Oh, that's a great question. Well, I was a high school head coach at the age of 24, and coaching is my ministry. So I had a desire to come back to college. My main goal is to mentor these young men, develop on the field and off the field, and it's always been a blessing for me to know that I always want to get back to college one day and basically develop the young man that's in the room.
Hey, Coach. Brian Christopherson.
How you doing, Brian?
Good. When you were talking through the process in the interview, what was it with Coach Rule and the staff that you just felt like this fits?
Well, one, for him to wait for me, we didn't get it. We got a bus to get a three-peat. That didn't happen, but he was willing to wait for me. He'd been in the NFL with the New York Giants, and during the interview, he was willing to wait. Coach Reed was a big fan of him, and they knew each other very well, and that was a big thing for me and my family. My family is the number one part of my life and my component. So for him to wait for my family, my kids, and everything after the Super Bowl run, I was blessed for the opportunity, so I felt like it was a right fit for me at the time.
Hey, Coach, Steve Mark with
How you doing, Steve?
Good. Joe Cullen, you work for him. How has he shaped your coaching style? What are the kind of main takeaways that you take from Coach Cullen?
Well, Coach Cullen always talk about effort and energy, and that's what we're going to talk about in the D-line room every day. We want to lead the Big Ten in effort from the D-line room. And with Coach Cullen, he taught me the basic principles of pass rush, and he helped me with my career. But it goes back from Steve Spagnuolo to Bob Sutton to all the way to Brandon Daly. That whole tree of me being with the Kansas City Chiefs has helped me for be at this time and place right now talking to you.
Hey, Terry, Evan Bland, Omaha World Herald.
How you doing, Evan?
Hey, doing well. What are the priorities for you this spring, getting to know these guys and trying to get this deal where you guys want?
That's a great question. My core values is family, relationship, and work ethic. And one, family. They're going to know that I'm part of family because Rule is big on family. I had my son and my wife in here last week, and that was real big for me. So the room will know that I'm big on family and relationships. Second component, relationships is very important. I got to get to know everybody in this room. I have to know when you come in my room, are you in a good mood, bad mood, are you ready to go? And I have to, as a coach, my number one job is to get the best out of you for that number one activity and task that we have at hand, which is right now we had a walkthrough. So then after that is work ethic. So I'm going to establish these core principles as part of work ethic and everything that Coach Rule going forward and his principles going forward with the program. So I'm going to relay what Coach Rule said, Coach Butler, and my biggest component is let them know that I'm big on family, relationship, and work ethic.
What's the main difference in coaching NFL players and Big Ten, high-level college players?
Chris Jones called me the other day. He asked me the same question. Well, the biggest difference is this level I'm able to develop more. And I'm talking about a stance when I first got here. Get off the ball, hand placement. When you get a guy that's been in the league for 6 years, they already have those components in their play. So I think that's the bigger difference of development and really the relationship part, being a father figure to them, sometimes in the NFL, and it happens too in college, but you have a guy for 6 weeks, 4 weeks, and they're gone in the free agency world. So that's really big. I think the biggest difference is true development, which I'm all about.
Hey, Terry. Luke Mullen from the Lincoln Journal-Star.
How you doing, Luke?
Good. Just to kind of follow up on that, is there a difference in the techniques you're going to be teaching these guys, in the NFL versus college, or maybe the way that you teach different pass rushing moves?
Nah, Luke, football is football. I've done coached little league to high school to NFL, and I'm in college. So we're going to teach the same principles. Get in the stance, get off, hand placement, strike blocks. So fundamentals is fundamentals. We can't get bored with them.
Hey, Coach, when did you realize your first game at Nebraska would be in Arrowhead Stadium, and how exciting will that be for you to coach your first game where you had been for several years before?
Well, that's a great question. I'm trying to think about tomorrow, not the first game, but I knew somebody intel there at the Chiefs told me, and I was really excited, and I told my wife. So, man, it's just a blessing to be there for 8 years. Most people not at an organization for 8 years, and going back where I was there in the booth, on the field, watching these guys win AFC championships. I think I've been at 5 AFC championships. I done won 3 Super Bowls, so I've been blessed. So to go back for my first game and for the young man in my room to give them a story, hopefully get some players to come from the Chiefs to let them know that they can make it, I think is very important. It's a special moment.
Hey, Coach, Lauren Michelson, KTV in Omaha. You say relationships are really important to you. How do you go about forging those in a room you're inheriting with new guys and returners?
I think it's the number one thing is communicate clarity. They got to come in the room. I got to meet them. I got to talk to them. I have to talk to their parents because it don't take one person to build a village. It take all of us. So if one man lacking, the next man lacking. So my biggest objective is to get them in the room, talk to them, set them down, and just get to know them. It's a marathon. It's not a sprint. So it's going to take some time, but I think we're on the right path to be successful.
Here at Third Out Sports. I know you said that coaching is your ministry and you're the one teaching, but what have you learned in these last few years from your players specifically at the Chiefs that you're excited to bring here at Nebraska?
I think that you have to listen to players. I learned a lot from Chris Jones, George Kalafis about pass rush because they out there doing it. And I think being at the Chiefs, coming off the field, talking to George Kalafis, I remember like it's yesterday, he got us 3 sacks in one game. And I was just so happy it felt like I was playing. So that's the really big thing that I learned about being at the Chiefs. Sometimes you got to listen to your players more and not just talk about X's and O's. It's all about people.
Coach Bradden, Matt McMaster from 1620 The Zone.
Say your name one time, I'm sorry.
Matt McMaster.
How you doing, Matt?
I'm doing great, Coach. So, the cliche is learning how to win, right? You got to learn how to win. You're coming from a modern NFL dynasty. What are some of the things, the nuances, the little details about winning that you picked up from the Chiefs that you hope to relay into your room and just the program in general?
That's a great question. 8 years ago, I was sitting at the Pro Bowl, didn't know nobody. And I had an awesome opportunity to talk to Emmett Thomas, Hall of Famer for the Chiefs. And him and Coach Reed taught me this business is all about people. You can put up cover 2, you can talk about pass rush, but you got to have good people around you to be successful. And I think being at the Chiefs is what I really learned about a successful organization. It's all about people at the end of the day. I hope I answered your question.
No, that was perfect.
Terry, short time here, of course, just getting to know these guys. Are you able to recognize and identify any leaders in your room in this early stage?
That's an early stage, and I'm going to answer that question as we progress through spring. But like Elijah Judy, he's been here the longest. Van Pop has been here the longest. Cam, they all had experience playing. But so that group right there, those 3 has shown just playing performance on the field, just the amount of reps. But as we go more, we understand who will be the vocal point, who will be the leader in the room moving forward. So I'll wait to answer that question as the spring go.
Hey, Coach. Andy Ketterson, Corn Nation.
Hi, Andy.
Hey, how you doing?
Good.
When did you first know that coaching was in your blood and it's what you wanted your future to be about?
Oh, that's a great question. I graduated from Tuskegee University, and I thought I wanted to be a U.S. Marshal. And that wasn't my plan. I did an internship with the federal defenders at Montgomery, and it was a failure. So I said, what can I do every morning that I love, wake up, and change a young man's life? And that was football. I get to coach a game that I played all my life, and also got to inspire and change a young man on the field and off the field. And that's when I knew when I was in college at Tuskegee University, my last year, had an opportunity to go to the AFCA convention, Then I became in a 30 for 30, became a high school head coach. And when I was a high school head coach, it gave me more a validation like this is what I need to do. When I was telling them I was going to be a GA at Bethune-Cookman, they all start crying. And I was like, no, this is my purpose. This is my destiny. And this is what I want to do. And I've been chasing it all my life. And I'm grateful for this moment now at Nebraska.
Hey, what do you like about John Butler and the way he runs his defense so far?
Well, we're still early stage putting the defense together, but I like how Coach Butler is very detailed. He's talking about fundamentals. He's talking about communication clarity. I think he does a great job. Coach Snow, everybody in the room from Addison Williams to Phil Simpson, from Ira, everybody in the room just communicate clarity and organization and detail and just talking about fundamentals. So I think Coach Butler does a great job talking about fundamentals, technique, sound, and just the basics, which I think is very important.
Kevin Suits with Channel 10 here in town.
How you doing, Kevin?
I'm doing well. Have you got all your Chiefs guys to become Nebraska fans now?
Well, that's when I was leaving the last day before the Super Bowl. You know, the night before, they was all saying, "No, we're gonna cheer for Nebraska because you're there." But that's still a tough component to really grave in. Some guys with the SEC and ACC. That's a tough one.
What kind of response did you get from the guys you were coaching with the Chiefs about your move?
Man, really, that was. I'm gonna keep that private, but it was a special moment that I never thought. The last night, guys basically got up in the room from Chris Jones to Tershawn Wharton and gave a testimony, and it was a tearful moment.
I know you were dialed in on your work with the Chiefs, but what was that balance like for the 2 months where you're kind of you're paying some attention to the Husker roster?
Absolutely, of course. But I was still working for the Chiefs, and I understand what Coach Reed #1 goal is about winning. But when Coach Reed gave me an opportunity, I was happy, and I was able to organize very well and help out both sides.
With the current workouts right now, you get to watch them. How valuable is that to just learn about your guys and like what you're going to be able to work with? Just are there specific things during workouts that you'd like to keep an eye on?
I'm just keeping an eye on all the fundamentals: stance, get off, hand placement. This part to me is like OTAs almost. It's very important to see the fundamentals from the ground up. You build a defensive lineman from the ground up, from a stance, get off. It's a difference from first and second down, get off, then third down, get off. So it's very important that I'll keep preaching fundamentals. We can't get bored with fundamentals. So to answer your question, yeah, I can see a lot right now developing in the process. Guys doing extra drills when I leave. They embracing the process and embracing the different culture of my coaching style. I thank you so much. Happy to be here.